When I was deciding how I wanted to approach this paint job, I knew it should be something that was really easy and simple to do. So I thought, why not just use my airbrush to randomly splatter the Mini with paint to create a mud effect. You can actually buy little adapters that go on the end of your airbrush to splatter the paint for you, but you really don't need one. All you really need to do is make your airbrush not work right. So to achieve this technique, all you have to do is dial your air pressure down to almost nothing. This causes your airbrush to not atomize the paint properly, and it randomly splatters it across your model. If you have an air pressure regulator valve on the end of your airbrush hose like I do, it's even more simple. With the turn of your fingers, you have a mud making machine. We'll do this in a few layers to get a really great random effect, so let's get to it. You can see here that I have my airbrush set up pretty good, and it's splattering pretty well. Along with your air pressure being set properly, it's also important to properly thin your paints. If you thin them too much, what'll end up happening is that the airbrush, no matter how low you dial down the pressure, is going to still atomize the paint and it won't splatter properly. If you get it too thick, then it won't come out of your airbrush at all. So you're going to have to experiment a little bit with the consistency of your paint to get it to really splatter well. There's really not too much skill behind this technique. Basically all you want to do is be messy. Randomly go around your Mini and splatter away. I'm using Vallejo model color gray black here. Be careful as you go along and don't add too much to the armor. We don't want to darken it too much because we're going to wash it later and we want to keep the armor fairly light. You can add a little bit more of the black gray to the cape area because it's supposed to be a darker, almost black color. For our final layer, I'm using the color Stonewall Gray. It's a lighter shade of gray than what we have used previously. If you over-darkened the armor of your model too much on the last step, you can alleviate this by adding a little bit of extra Stonewall Gray to lighten it up. Otherwise, don't go too crazy here. Also, it's important not to get too much of the lighter gray color all over your cloak because that's supposed to be a darker, almost black color. So try not to go too crazy there either. Next, we wash our model with Agrax Earthshade. This is a brown wash, and it'll help us darken our armor just a little bit and tint it so that it'll look a little bit more like mud. I thin my wash down by about 50% for this step. Sometimes using a wash straight from the pot can be too strong, so thinning it down a little bit will help us to control how much we shade our Stormtrooper. You don't have to be too controlled with this wash because we're going for a mud effect. Just be careful it doesn't pull up too much in the recesses because sometimes that will dry funny and it won't look right. For our final step, we're going to shade the cape using Nun Oil, which is a black wash. This will help us darken the cape down to an almost black color. here is our completed Stormtrooper squad. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful. Don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe. I'll be posting many more tutorials, both basic and advanced, in the coming weeks.